What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest of cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who've made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shan Tynes.
What's up? What's up?
And Daniel Acevedo.
How's it going, guys?
What's going on? So welcome to the podcast. So Monday, Tuesday are topics, Wednesday discussion, Thursdays Ask a CISSP, where I talk to somebody from the industry or those movers and shakers, people doing great things within our field. And then Fridays, everything else, movies, books, games, all that good stuff. If you're tuned in to us on 99.1 FM out in the Atlanta metro area or via TuneIn, so you can listen to it anywhere, then you'll get everything all in one episode. So definitely continue to check us out. And without further ado, I give it to Shannon.
All right, everybody. This next article comes from The Record, written by Dorina Antuniuk. I hope I said that right. Maybe I didn't, though.
better than the rest of us.
Sounded good.
Yeah. But the title is Iran and Russia deepen cyber ties with new agreement, right? So you got Iran and Russia who said, okay, let's work together when it comes to cybersecurity, right? Which kind of seems like it's an oxymoron when it comes to those two countries.
I like how you pronounce it correctly, because I'd be like, Iran.
It's always an Iran, Iraq, right? Like that's how I remember it, right? But that's how I learned it, so that's just how I always say it. But yeah, the two countries have their military security and technological ties have become intertwined now, right? So these two countries, right, they are two of the most sanctioned in the world, and that's not hyperbole, right? Like they are literally two of the most sanctioned countries in the world, and they figure, okay, and this is what happens when you start doing this, right? Is you get these countries that they'll find a way to align with each other, right? And be like, okay, if it's us against the world, it's going to be us against the world, and this is what we're going to do, right? And the reason this is dangerous, right? Because when it comes to cybersecurity and threats that are out there, some of the bigger ones are out there, right? Are Russia, Iran, North Korea, your China's, right? So like it's in what I consider the big four, right? The four horsemen of cybersecurity danger, right? Is what I would call them. But yeah, it's them working together, right? Just to Russia has attempted to disconnect like from the internet world, kind of like China does, right? Like they have their they call it like their their good internet or something like that is what they call it. But it's just really what it is, just filtering out news they don't want people to see, right? China does the same thing. Iran is doing the same thing, right? So there's no free speech really in those countries when it comes to what's presented to them on the internet, right? And really, it's them just Russia is very good at this when it comes to being out there and doing things and denying that they did it. China as well, right? But I think there's just going to be more of this. I mean, both of them getting together, putting their technological forces together, right, and working out with this deal. We're going to see more of it, to where we're going to do the research. We're going to say, hey, this was Russia, which means it could have also been Iran, right? This is Iran, which means it could have also been Russia, because it's going to be a sharing of technologies and things of that nature, right? Because they are so sanctioned, so they only have each other to turn to, right? So we're going to see a lot more on this in the future, right? This is I'm guaranteeing we're going to see a lot more of it's Iran or it's Russia, and it's going to be a combination of the two, right? There's going to be something in there where they're going to be like, well, Iran contributed this or Russia contributed this, and that's just what we have to look forward to. And it's not something I am looking forward to, but it's just the future. But Daniel, what's your thoughts on this, man?
Definitely. I think the only note I have on this, I don't know why I didn't write more, was the personification of the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Because pretty much, like you said, they're both the most sanctioned nations in the world. And they're honestly also kind of ahead of the game in cybersecurity and, hacking and gaining access and persistent threats and these kind of things. Iran and Russia have always been kind of like forward-leaning into that area. So I don't know why now they would decide to make it like Instagram or Facebook public. Like, hey, we're merging. I'm getting down on one knee and we're exchanging rings. When I think it's kind of already known in the intelligence community and in the world that these two countries share a lot of, hey, this is how we do APTs or persistent threats. How do you guys do it? They share that information. And I don't know if it's to say because, somebody new is in office in the United States talking about how they want to make that nation great again and kind of where they're going to be forward leaning in AI and all the kind of, funding they're doing. Hey, I'm not trying to pick a bone with the new president. I'm going to say that right now. But I do think there is a correlation, right? Why those nations are now being vocal and saying, hey, look, we are allied and we are sharing this type of information. And we're going forward, not only are we going to share how we do business, any new technology that we have that we develop, we're going to share with the other nation. And it kind of makes them a lot stronger in that aspect to say, hey, you might be trying to get stronger in your nation, but we're not going to be bullied over here. And I know a lot of the world kind of sees the U.S. as the world's police sometimes when it comes to conflicts. So it puts a lot of pressure on the U.S. in a very particular area on how it's going to respond in the cyberspace and in the AI space moving forward with whatever conflicts are worldwide. I don't know. Those are my two thoughts, my two big thoughts. Kind of why are they doing it now when we know they're doing it, and what's more there that they haven't really shown publicly that they're sharing already going forward. What do you think, Ryan?
I think it's an advertisement. Really, it's like Suge Knight at the like hey, if you're tired of getting bullied by your world leaders, come to death row.
Come to death row.
Because or bad Voltron, right? Like you have these two, right, and then you add your China, your North Korea, and your Syria, and then boom, they combine forces because they all have pieces, right? You have Russia, like, hey, we got the uh, anti vulnerability software, right? We got Kaspersky. You can have some of that. We need somebody to pick up on this. Then you have China could jump in, like, oh, you got the little red book, right? You want your social media to be as scrutinized as possible. We don't do the TikToks over here, even though we get that to America, and so on and so forth. So it could be pretty deadly when it comes to their capabilities. So that does kind of unsettle me a little bit about it. But at the same time, everybody needs a friend, so I can't hate on them, right? Like it's lonely out there, right? If you are being heavily sanctioned the way they are, like China, if China were to join this collaboration, right, they can't get their Huawei devices out to the States, but I could sell it to my buddies, to Russia, to so on and so forth, right, to continue to make that money and to continue to upgrade our tech. So they need an outlet because of their sanctions. So why not go to their fellow peers that are also being sanctioned and say, hey, let's share this technology and things of that nature.
So, and here's the thing, right? So, like we know we have what I call the big four, right? You got your North Korea, your Iran, your Russia, your China. So, like, it's not just them though. So, like, there it was. I can't remember when it was, so if I'm being honest, but China and India are getting friendlier as well. You know what I mean? So, like, India, large country, right? Two of the largest countries population wise in the world, right? So, even if we don't consider them a threat when it comes to being in APT, right? Excuse me. When it comes to them being in APT or doing anything like that, they have a lot of people that are available to do these certain things if they team up with China, which is also teaming up with Russia, which is also teaming up with Syria, Iran. You know what I mean?
That would be 2 billion people, right? Because they're a billion apiece.
More. They're like 1.5 apiece. They're 1.5 apiece. Jeez. India and China are like going back and forth, like for who has the most population. India's been up a little bit because China's has been going down.
Right. Decline.
Yeah. But India, they're like 1.5 at least, and they believe that's an underestimate because they got all those, like, especially in China, they got all those little places out in the middle of nowhere that they don't think are getting counted correctly. So, yeah. It's at least 3 billion of the 8.5 we have on this earth, right?
We're outnumbered, right? Well, so I guess and this is just speculation, right? This is just me thinking out loud, but to our benefit, right? For the, I forget what we're called, the Five Eyes, right? We still own the internet to a certain extent, right? All the major nodes are in the States or with our peers, and we've gone through, I think in the last administration, I think the Biden administration, where we kind of opened up a lot of the IP space that was left over from the military. So that way we could, I guess, either do better in the IPv versus IP6 conversion, if you want to look at it that way, or if you want to look at it a little bit more nefarious, we had the ability to DDoS the mess out of somebody if you really wanted to.
We did it. Yeah.
So we do have certain capabilities, and they can't bifurcate the internet. They can't say, well, we'll create our own internet, because they will have no knowledge or information past the date that they start their internet, right? So there always has to be an in route. to the big internet. So we do have that to our benefit. But you can only beat somebody up so much before they go find a buddy to do what they need to do. So it's like, oh, do we sanction them more? I mean, like at the end of the day, they're gonna at some point develop their tech. They're gonna their techniques, tactics, procedures. They're gonna find some peers to work with. So if anything, we can hope that they only stay two instead, like you said, the Four Horsemen or the Voltron Five, if they all get together, because you still have other lesser known nations. I think Burma is still not one of our friends, right? Myanmar, I forget what they go by now. Rambo taught me that they had two names. So there are other nations that are also heavily sanctioned that they may also want to join forces. So we'll see what the future holds. But yeah, this I think, like you said, yeah, making it a Facebook official, right? Let's say that they're recording one another is a sign of things to come. And I think it's just a beacon, right? It's like the bat symbol. Like, hey,
Yeah.
we need all you guys to come over here. So I give it another, well, 2025 just started, so we might see more of this before the year is out, but I give it another year or two. And yeah, we're going to be talking about how, like you said, complex, there you go, nature of having to figure out who attacked us, because it could be any of them if they all team up together, or a combination of all above. So we'll see what the future holds. Definitely continue to tune in to the podcast. Hit us up by all the websites to go by our name, The Other Side of the Firewall, or The Other Side of the FW. Hit us up at all of those websites, include ramcyber.io. It's nothing really there yet, but just bookmark it. Put us in your favorites. Hit me up personally. I'm at RyRy Security Guy. That's RYRY Security Guy. You can find me pretty much on all the platforms, but LinkedIn is where I'm most responsive. And where can they find you, Daniel?
On LinkedIn under my name, Daniel Acevedo.
There it is. Stay safe. Stay secure.